After 4 months of rebuilding our salvaged BMW 540i, in today's episode we will do all the necessary fixes, complete maintenance service and hit the road for the first time. Homemade special edition BMW exhaust system removal tool, and we'll do a special test. It's named dropping test.
Why do you need to remove that part? Can't pipe with an extra pipe. That's double sized pipe.
Yeah, it's double size pipe. Dark and oily. That's not good. I would like to do a small upgrade to the car. It's fully digital. And during the final fill of the transmission, this happened. My friend and I ended up completely covered in oil. Great. This is my special brake fluid flushing tool. Houston, we have a problem. It's finally BMW again.
So first drive of Project White. How does it feel?
I noticed that the driver's seat controls were shaking badly, so I disassembled them to see what was going on. The control button's base is riveted to the seat frame, but unfortunately the plastic holder had cracked. I successfully managed to glue the buttons to the base. I had either to replace the whole seat or use a donor seat base, which I didn't have. That's why I decided to try fixing it with a larger diameter shim. And this is the riveting tool. I successfully fixed the base. And now I have to install the plastic trim. The plastic trim of the seat is repaired. The next issue with the car is the dry shaft flex disc. I've decided not to remove all the necessary parts for the flex disc replacement procedure, just some of the splash shielding and heat shielding. And then the exhaust system tried to kill me. Probably I should lower the exhaust system. Oh, it's done. 1 hour later we removed the 2 screws. And now we can remove the heat shielding. Okay, we'll use a cheat code. My plan is to remove this bushing to lower the exhaust system a little bit, and after that to try to remove the heat shielding. We'll use some silicone lube. Homemade special edition BMW exhaust system removal tool. I'll give the part number in the description. I think we've made it. Okay, not a big trouble. This clip only.
Why do you need to remove that part?
I don't need to remove it, I need to return it. Okay, that's enough. The cheat code worked. Houston, we have a problem. I can't rotate the drive shaft because the transmission is in parking position, but I'll try to use another cheat code. I have to mark the position of the drive shaft bearing, and on the other side. Did you hear my biological Newton metric wrench?
Yes.
It's time for the cheat code. Or cheetah code. Are you happy?
No.
A lot of pain for me.
Why would I be happy if you're in pain?
Because you're Bulgarian.
So? I'm a Bulgarian. Therefore, I'm a horrible person. Please don't hug the filter. There's more dirt there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to detach the drive shaft bearing.
What are you doing?
I'm cleaning the hose from rust and dust.
Is the screwdriver the best option for you?
Actually no, but I'm okay with this. This is the old flex disc. It's cracked. It's pretty visible. This is the new flex disc. It's made from, it should be swag. This is the original. It's BMW stamped and it has a lot of coatings. This disc is having the same coatings, but just with a small difference. The emblem has been erased. That's the only difference. It's about 3 times cheaper than this. And this marking has been erased too. And we'll do a special test. It's named dropping test. This is what a bad disc do. This is what a good disc do. Do you see the difference?
No.
Me too. After dismantling the old flex disc, it was time to install the new one. Torque all the bolts and reinstall all the removed parts. I'll apply a tiny amount of thread locker because I'm going to reuse these bolts. We have to torque all of the bolts. I'm going to torque the bolts in whatever sequence. And the correct torque for this bolt is about hand tight.
Hand tight with an extra pipe.
Yeah, hand tight with an extra pipe. I think you don't like my Mercedes-Benz methods.
They're fine.
They're fine.
Yeah.
I believe they're fine. According to my experience, they're pretty fine. It's fine. It's great. And now the easier one.
That's double-sized pipe.
Yeah, it's double-sized pipe. Okay. I believe it's torqued correctly by the sequence, by the Newton meters, by the degrees of rotation of the bolts, and so on and so on. Lifetime warranty, no loose bolts. Heat shielding installation. These are metal heat resisting nuts. Installing the hardest to install screws. I removed the front left floor splash shield because it was damaged during the loading of the car. I ordered a new one, which I'll install later. It's cracked here, and it's broken here. Some silicone loop. I have to attach the exhaust valve cable. Can you hold it for a second? The missing clips has just arrived. The front left tweeter had a fitment issue. It wasn't sitting properly. So I decided to remove it to check what was going on. Since I couldn't determine what was wrong with the tweeter installation, I decided to remove the entire door panel and found this. The foamy piece holding the internal window sill was split into two separate pieces that was crammed behind the tweeter. Additionally, two of the clips that hold the door trim were missing. I am going to use super glue to repair the foam insulation. I will put this repair aside until all of the parts arrive. Now the insulation is repaired, so let's try to install it. I'll continue by removing the tint from the front windows. Unfortunately, the window tint on the front windows is not allowed in the European Union. I have to use some glass cleaner. Before and after. After removing the tint, I proceeded to address the noise suppression layer on the seat belt buckles. To fix them, I applied a thin layer of fabric glue to the insulation. After waiting some time for the glue to cure, I pressed it firmly onto the buckle. Next, I'll proceed with complete vehicle maintenance service. Oil filter is down here. I think I'll create a lot of mess here. I'll try to put this quote around the oil filter housing. During the rack insertion, I saw something that I'll realize later and show you in this video. The filter looks very good. There are no particles inside it, no specks, no dust. That's interesting. Replace the oil filter housing O-ring. Let's look this O-ring and this O-ring and this one on the top. Install the new oil filter. 25 Newton meters. Click. It's so satisfying to use these. If I had a full truck loaded with brake cleaners, I would use them all. Replace the air filter. I have to unclip the mass meter. Unscrew the air filter box screws and the clamp down here. Plug the turbocharger inlet. I have to clean the air box. I will use a compressed air. New air filter. Mass meter is a bit oily. Maybe it's a good idea to clean it. Some silicone loop. Tighten all of the screws. Tighten the airbox hose clamp. Install the mass meter plug. Let's drain the engine oil. The oil looks very clean. Let's reinstall the drain plug and new crush washer. Clean the mess. It's time for the new engine oil. I really like Moto X-Max 0W40 for almost all of my cars. Over the years, using Moto oils, the engine stays clean and quiet, and it keeps oil consumption to a minimum. The 0W40 viscosity maintains a good and durable oil film during the engine operation. I don't care to use 0W20 or 0W30 engine oils to improve fuel economy by a few percent if it compromises engine components longevity. Clean the mess that I've just created. I'll check the oil level later. As you may remember from previous episodes, the car occasionally started smoking heavily, without any visible reason. I've decided to replace the PCV system, but I'll show you a clever way with the help of the engine vacuum to do it. You could see the diaphragm of the PCV. It's cracked here, here and here. It has to be replaced. Probably this caused the smoking of the tailpipe. Oh, it's really bad. It started falling apart. These are the new parts. It contains the top cover, diaphragm, piston and spring. It's a bit tricky. Because I'm not able to install the diaphragm, I'll try to start the engine and to see if this would help me to install it properly. Yeah, that works pretty good. Let's install the cover. Now the PCV system is done. It's time for the spark plugs. On the next day, I received the proper tool for the spark plugs. BMW original spark plugs, NGK. They are looking okay, but definitely need replacement. There are some brown coverings on the insulator. I hope that the PCV replacement will solve the oil burning issue. Dark and oily, that's not good. NGK replacement spark plug. Click. Click, 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 click. Let's reinstall the ignition coils. Click, 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 click. The engine cover. Next are the cabin air filters. I removed the trim cover and unplugged the footwell light. This is the cover that I have to unscrew. Probably it's T15 or something like this. These are the filters, number 1 and number 2. Let's install the new filters. The filter cover. During the process, I noticed that the filter cover was broken, but I decided to install it anyway. I need to order a new one. The 2 screws. And to reconnect the pipe. I have to install the cover. Reconnect the footwell lamp. Now it's done. I would like to do a small upgrade to the car. This instrument cluster cannot be switched to kilometers per hour. For this reason I have to change it. And I've bought this cluster. It's fully digital. I have to remove this plastic trim and this vent. I think there is no way to remove this in one piece, but I'll try. Okay. Oh, it's very hard to remove the upper and the lower clips. They were holding the cover pretty strong. I need to unscrew this. It's T20. I have to remove the vent. To remove this plastic cover. There are two plastic covers that I have to push. What happened off camera? I use this hole and T15 Torx that I push inside here and to the left, and the same on the other side, but I have to push on the right to push the clips, the left one and the right one, to remove this cover. After that I pushed this to the left and in the same time down, and the right clip too, to be able to remove the lower steering cover, to collect these two rubber plugs. After that I installed the lower cover just with pressing it up. I have to remove the right interior trim. I need access just to the right bolt here. Okay, the screw is removed. 3 more to go. And the last one. I successfully released the old coaster. Everything is so tight. Two more to go. And finally the coaster is free. Install the frame to the digital dash. And the dash is ready for installation. Let's install the new dash. Connect the connectors. Test the dash. Okay, it's working. Let's torque all of the bolts. Reinstall the trim, the left air vent, install the screw, the cover, I have to reinstall the rubber plugs on the steering column, and the installation is done. I successfully managed to recall the dash. It's fully working. Let's check the oil level. That's interesting. I had just 6 liters of oil. I have to change the rear diff oil, but there is a slight problem. There is only filling plug, there is no drain plug, and I have to drain the oil through the filling plug. For this task, I've made this tool. It's an electric oil pump. This is the inlet of the pump, and this is the outlet that is plugged in the bottle. I'll try to reach the bottom end of the diff with this tube. So let's begin. Let's turn on the pump. I'm not able to reach the bottom end of the diff. I'll use this piece of wire. I'll put it inside the tube. I'll bend the wire, and now I'll try to reach the bottom end of the diff. Actually, it's working. I'll try to fill the diff with good stuff without using the pump. Let's torque the plug. Clean the mess. And the diff is now done. I have to change the 8-speed ZF transmission oil. I have to remove the plastic oil pump drain plug. What a mess. Actually, the ATF looks very clean. I dropped the plug in the bucket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, the drain plug is plastic and I cannot use a magnet to find it in the bucket. I missed something very important. Before draining the transmission oil, the first step is to remove the filling plug. If I'm not able to remove it, it wouldn't be a good idea to drain the oil first. Very nasty. Actually, it's very strange. This oil does not smell to ATF. Let's plug the oil pan. Remove the bolts. A lot of stuff inside. I'll use solvent to clean the transmission housing, mating surface with the oil pan. A small amount of debris on the bottom of the oil pan, but it looks very clean. The new oil pan comes with pre-installed gasket and integrated filter in the oil pan. I have to pre-loop this seal here. I will install a magnet from the old oil pan. The new oil pan, new bolts. Let's remove the filling plug. I'll torque the oil pan from center to the end with 4 Newton meters with specific sequence. I torqued all of the bolts with 4 Newton meters. Now it's time to torque them with 10 Newton meters. I'll recheck all of the bolts. I'll check the drain plug. I'll use my homemade special tool to fill the transmission. While refilling the transmission, this happened. Unfortunately, life is not always what you want. It is what it is. Later, I created the biggest oil mess of my life, which you are going to enjoy. Huge fail. Oh, what a mess. I have to clean this. I forgot to install the clamp on the pump outlet. Second attempt to fill the transmission. Okay, the transmission is now filled with oil. I have to close the filling plug and start the car. Once the transmission is filled, I hand tighten the filling plug. Next, I need to cycle through all the gears and preheat the transmission to between 40 and 50 degrees centigrade. A piece of advice: the transmission heats up very quickly, so for the final oil fill it needs to be completely cold initially. It's best to let the car sit overnight. That's why I had to redo the procedure the next day and make the final fill. With my scan tool, I'm monitoring the transmission temperature. To make the final fill of the transmission, the oil temperature should be between 40 and 50 degrees centigrade. Now it's 38. I have to open the filling plug. And during the final fill of the transmission, this happened. My friend and I ended up completely covered in oil. What an oily day it turned out to be. Unfortunately, we didn't have any spare clothes, and the transmission temperature was rising quickly. We had no choice but to continue with the filling procedure and accept our fate. Great. I received an oil shower. Transmission is filled with oil. I have to close the plug. Special edition Pernic wrench, and the final torque was applied, and the transmission is now done. Oil man. Let's clean the transmission. I have to clean the oil mess that I've just created.
What are you using to clean this up?
I'm using petrol. It's much cheaper than the brake cleaner. I have to remove the oil shower pump from the transmission jack. I'm hearing that the pump is sucking fuel from the fuel tank. Actually, it's pretty empty.
Are you feeling the heat from the exhaust?
No, actually, it's not very hot. I really can't stand these misleading labels. Fixing the underbody loading scars. A brand new underbody splash shield. I have to install the clips. According to my observations, the car appears to have been loaded with a forklift. That's why I need to replace the left fore underbody splash shield that was damaged. Transmission splash shield. Fortunately, I'm having a damaged clip. I have to remove the entire splash shield and reinstall it again. Damaged clip that I have to remove. New clip. And let's reinstall the splash shield. Next up is the engine splash shielding. Unfortunately, it was damaged during the loading. Since this piece was relatively expensive, I decided to clean it and assess the damage. While I might have otherwise left it as is, my goal is to make this car pristine. Everything needs to be touched up and polished to perfection. I decided to address the pressure marks and use my super glue kit. The kit includes super glue, a filling solution and an accelerator for fast curing. I used the glue to reinforce the creases some tape, and now it's time for the glue. This is an accelerator and the accelerator to speed up the curing process. The filler was applied to fill the missing material. After all of this, I removed the excessive material and painted the repair for better finish. I'll sand the excessive amount with sandpaper. I'll apply a thin layer of paint. This is the end result after cleaning and repair. Missing clips. Some more damaged clips. New clip. Engine splash shield installation. To complete the bodywork, the final step is installing the body brace. Click, 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 click. And the body is now completely done. The last maintenance task is a complete brake service. First, I started by removing all the wheels. After inspecting the brake pads and rotors, I found they have about 80% life left. So I decided to leave them and perform a brake fluid flush, because the fluid looks old and dirty. After that, I used a syringe to drain some of the old brake fluid from the brake reservoir. It's really dirty. This is my special brake fluid flushing tool. I have to fill it with brake fluid to a certain level. Close the filling cap. Install the tool cap on the brake fluid tank. Connect the tool and pump the tool to about 2 bars of pressure. We have to start draining the old brake fluid from the furthest caliper from the brake master cylinder. In this case, it's the rear left caliper, followed by the rear right, front right, and finally the front left caliper. But on the front right caliper we encountered a surprise. This cap is broken, it has to be replaced. There is a lot of rust here. Houston, we have a problem. Probably the plug is filled with rust and I cannot bleed this side of the caliper. It started bleeding around the plug. Maybe it's a good idea to remove the plug and try to clean it. The bleeder nipple was heavily rusted and wouldn't work. Fortunately, I had stored some spare parts from different cars over the years, and I found a compatible brand new caliper bleeder and rubber caps that have been sitting in boxes for over a decade. What a luck, huh? On the front left caliper, the cap is broken and the plug, it doesn't have rust. Okay, probably it's working. Great, luckily it's not rusted. Let's bleed the inner plug. I'll replace the outer plug cap. Let's close the inner plug. To ensure that I drained all of the old fluid, I performed the bleeding procedure twice to make sure none of it was left in the system. In the end, I cleaned everything with water. The brake caliper hose looks good, it doesn't have any cracks. Remove the hose, install the cap, outside plug. Okay, I'm closing the plug, removing the hose and install the cap. Front left wheel, inner plug. The brake discs are almost new. Closing the plug. Clean the caliper and the brakes are done. Let's remove the bleeder tool. I have to release the pressure. Disconnect it from the vehicle. Remove the cap. The tank is a bit overfilled. I'll remove the excessive amount of brake fluid. Install the plastic trim. US spec grass. A BMW original security bolts. After we finish the brakes, it's time to put the wheels back and install the missing locking bolts. Install the registration plates. The registration plates installed. Next we are resetting all of the oil, maintenance and service intervals. New floor mats. After all the countless repairs and fixes, it's finally time to hit the road for the first time. But no, the BMW is still unfinished. We need to install the last missing piece, the cherry on the top. It's finally BMW again.
So first drive of Project White, how does it feel?
It's great. Maybe these are the first 100 meters. The car is very comfortable. It's very quiet. I really like how it feels. I don't hear any additional noises.
Oh, yes, the engine is very quiet, I can barely hear it.
Yeah. The brakes are still covered with rust and the initial bite is very strong.
They should clear soon enough.
Yeah. The steering wheel is straight. The car does not need any alignment. It gave it some boost. Fuel reserve. It's
We have to go to the gas station.
for sure. 4 months to complete the Project White.
Yeah.
It took me 4 months.
That's quite a while.
Uh,
Not as much as the COS or
the CLS took me about 18 months, but I was familiar with Mercedes architecture and Mercedes style of building cars, but this is something new. This is my first touch to BMW cars. The steering wheel is very light. The transmission is much faster than 5G Tronic. It's almost seamless.
there is some strange green white blinking on your dashboard. What is that?
What?
There is some strange green white blinking on your dashboard.
Green?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
I understand. Yeah, it's BMW blinker actually.
Yeah, the blinker fluid is low.
Yeah,
I
blinker
believe.
fluid is low. It will stop blinking. The blinkers are not working anymore.
Yeah, they're useless in BMWs anyway.
I really like the parking assistant of this car. I barely hear any external noises.
Yeah, I can hear the tires on there.
Yeah, only the tires, but they are all season and probably a bit noisier than the summer tires. It was very good for 340 horsepower, I think.
Should be about that.
Or 360. How much?
I think it's 340.
340, okay.
Oh, it's a 540, yeah, but it's a 340 horsepower.
And 540 with 340. It's very responsive. What's that?
That is probably some piece of a bolt.
A bolt?
Yeah.
We managed to find all of the bolts, actually. It's so quiet that I cannot tell how many cylinders does it have. Some extra finding. Do you want to drive it?
No, fine. I'm a cameraman, man. I can drive cars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But during the drive, I noticed something that needed fixing. The headlights were misaligned. After some fine-tuning with just a screwdriver, the headlight beams are now pointing in the proper direction. I lowered the right headlight and raised the left headlight. These are the adjusting screws. This one is for up-down, this is left-right. I believe they're looking great. Okay, this job is done.